Talk shows, Find Your Own Voice, Lead from Within. With me today, Amanda Murray, Robin Snow, and Dr. Biget Tan. Dr. Biget Tan, please introduce yourself to our audience.
Thank you, Numsa, and good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on where you are here in the Western US. It's bright and early in the morning. And let me ask you this. Is there, have you ever have an experience where you need or want to let go of what's not serving you in life, but you find it not that easy. Sometimes whatever no longer serving us kind of cling to us, right? Whether it's a habit or a person. And sometimes the even better question is, how do you know what's no longer serving you in life? And I am Dr. Burjit Tan. I'm a grief transformation specialist. And naturally, I see so many people that carry kind of like an extra weight and sometimes lots of extra weight that cause them to not being able to move forward. And sometimes we do want to let go certain things that's no longer serving you in life, so you will be able to easily move forward. Imagine trying to run with about an additional 50 kilos or 100 pounds weight behind you. That wouldn't be easy. So well, to listen up and we'll discuss on how you know what's no longer serving you in life and how to let that go with more ease and create more joy and a thriving life for you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Biget. Robin, please introduce yourself to our audience, then pass it to Amanda.
Sure. My name is Robin Snow. I'm the owner, director, and author at Glow Yoga Kids here in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. So basically, we have a kids yoga company around the city and area, and we go into schools and daycare, and we share yoga and mindfulness techniques with kids. I also have a cat that I always mention because she always walks across my keyboard in the middle of this, like without fail. So I like to mention her. She will probably show herself at some point. Amanda?
My name is Amanda Cottrell. I'm also from Canada, but from Calgary. So Robin and I are about 3 hours away from each other. I am a teacher and author, and I help build, my mission statement or my goal is to build a global community of empowered creators who embrace their passions and natural curiosities to make the world a better place one day at a time.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ladies. So our topic today is let go of what no longer serves you. And Amanda, you chose this topic. Would you like to explain to our audience why you chose this topic and what it means to you? I know when someone chooses a topic here, that means they are very passionate about the topic. And for me, letting go of what is no longer serving me, it means when I let go of something that does not serve me anymore, I will feel that freedom in my inner being, and it will bring me happiness and joy, basically, because I've removed that negative, toxic energy within myself. So I'm going to let you, Amanda, explain to the audience about the topic.
So I am running a course starting this fall on empowering your life. And one of the topics for one of the weeks is on learning to let go. And essentially, I believe that that's something that is needs to be taught, is learning how to let go of things, because so often we keep this anxiety and stress stuck in it. When we have it stuck in our bodies and we don't learn how to let it go, it can actually cause disease down the road. And I think that's something that we all need to be aware of, and learning how to process things and how to let go of what's no longer serving you is an essential skill that really should be taught in schools. And so that's one of the reasons why I picked this topic.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Amanda. I like to hear everyone's opinion. Robin, what do you think? And Dr. Bigot.
Yeah, I think Amanda hit the nail on the head. I feel like a lot of people probably don't know what the things are that they're holding on to often. It can just kind of manifest, and we're like, oh, where did this come from? Why am I in pain all of a sudden? Or why am I having some sort of response, emotional or physical? And usually it's because, they've been holding on to something and just didn't realize it. So I think it's a very super cool topic. I'm excited to talk about what that looks like, and also just share some of the ways that I personally have kind of figured out what was going on. It's like you have to act like a little spy in your own body almost and figure out what it is that you're holding on to, especially with emotions. The big one that I can think of that like really sits in the body and is so hard to get rid of is anger. So I'm definitely excited to talk about that today. How about you, Dr. Burgett?
Thank you. I would agree with both of you, with all three of you, that there are certain things in our life that we we can definitely benefit from not having, and it could be definitely emotions and certain things from the past and so forth that we do, and sometimes it's also habit, and that's the sneaky one too, because sometimes we just don't even realize it until there is a saying, it's habits. It keeps going until it's become too late, and then becomes so difficult to let go. And so it's something where if your result or your life's not where you would love it to be, then typically there is room of improvement that include replacing. I love to use the word replacing more than letting go, actually, because human by natures don't like to lose things, don't like to let go of things. And it's something where when you replace, you typically want to release something as well as putting something new. And so that's something that we want to be able to do, is to replace what's no longer serving us with something that is much more fun and empowering.
I agree with you guys. Basically, it's very important to let go of things that don't serve you anymore. So for me, basically, for me to be able to move forward, I had to write a book, a biography for myself. I wrote about 200 something pages, and I banned that book after a year later because I felt that I had to express it. It was part of my healing. I know Amanda's topic was one of the topic was this one, and the other one was the healing starts with you. So we're gonna use it next week. So for me, basically letting go and healing myself, it was for me to put down everything that I felt that I had to let go, the things that I was holding in my, and the people that I was holding in my heart, and the places that I had visited, either with my exes or either with my parents, my late father and my stepfather, that I was holding on to it. So I had to put everything, write my biography, and the feelings, it was so painful because I didn't want to hold on to those memories anymore. Not that when people speak, they say beautiful memories are the most that are painful. So I wanted to tell my memories that I love you, and I had to let go of things like they had. There's some things that I was holding from a very young age. When I was at school, meeting boyfriends, meeting friends telling me that I wasn't enough and believing it in my heart. So I had to write a book, a biography, and that book was messed up. When I read it back, and I was like, oh my God. But then I hold on to it. I did all the necessary steps to publish the book. everything. I took all the process, but then it was part of the healing. After that, for me, my journey was to light up the fire and burn the whole thing. I even burned the laptop where the book was because I did not want anything to do with it. But now, if I go back and write that biography, it will be a biography of joy. I'll feel joy within. But at that moment, I felt that I needed to get rid of everything. I did print it out and I sent it to myself, the post office. I sent it to myself, 200 something pages. And I banned those pages that I've written and I banned the laptop. And that was me letting go of everything and every heart, every friend that had told me that I wasn't enough. It was me forgiving them and forgiving those who have hurt me in the past, all in the fire. Over to you, Amanda.
I really like how you said that you wrote it all out and then you burned it, and that's something that I've done in 2 different retreats, is essentially write things out and then burn them to release that energy. And so that's actually something that I taught my daughter to do, was write out all of the things that were stressing her out, and then we took them out to the backyard and we burned them, because we essentially wanted to release all of that energy. And that's one tool that you could use to learn how to let go of energy and learn how to let go of things that are no longer serving you, because so much of what's no longer serving you is things that are stuck in your mind. And if you can get it out on paper and then release it, that's a tool that you can use to let it go. And I think that so often, when we write down things that we are struggling with, sometimes it just is like bleh, right? Like you just get it all out and all down on the page, and it's something that you just needed to do, and then throw it in the fire and release it. And it's so powerful. It's such a powerful act to do, to write out your story and then to burn those things, because there's 2 different ways you can write your life story. One of them is from a negative perspective, and then one is from a positive perspective, and they're both the same story. It's just how you view it. And so whenever I come across struggles, I just think to myself, what is this meant to teach me, and what am I learning from this situation?
Yeah, I love that. I was also going to mention, Dr. Burgett said about, being in your comfort zone. I think that we often get really, really comfortable there and we don't want to leave. I've heard from so many people, family members and friends included, that they're just like, yeah, I don't want anything to change anymore. Like, I'm good here. And I'm like, okay, that's cute, but it's going to change. Like, change is inevitable. Change is happening all the time. And it's really important to kind of move with the change as opposed to resisting it. Usually the things that are no longer serving us are actually also inhibiting us. When we say they're no longer serving us, it's like, yeah, okay, but like I can still just do what I want. It's like, no, it actually stops you in a lot of instances, because basically you're just holding on to these belief systems that are creating the world around you constantly. And so if you are holding on to those things and are like, nope, this is comfortable and I want to keep this here, it's actually stopping you from essentially living your dreams, right? It's preventing you from, getting that job that you really wanted, or finding that significant other that, you so want to fill your life with, or a project or a hobby or whatever that looks like. So I think really determining, what it is, figuring out what it is, and then allowing yourself to kind of move with the ebbs and flows of life is super, super important. Dr. Burgett, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I love that. It's definitely sometimes many of us don't want to let go, and and if you are one of if you are in a place that you said, you know what, I don't like to change. I know every other person and every other coach out there saying that you got to change and this and that, but I don't. I'm okay, and I'm comfortable where you are. Well, first of all, just know that you are the normal one. you're the normal and natural one. In our human nature, we don't like to change because we're really not that far from, let's just say, our great 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 grandfather, the cave woman and the caveman. And back in the day, a lot of change can be very hazardous, and for the person and everybody else around them. And changing cave, you never know what's at the back of the cave. Could be some scary snakes that come on in the middle of the night and kill you. So it's normal to not want to change. It's our nature. If you look at our pets, even they don't like change. So it's actually very normal and natural. And as a person, and a person that no longer living in the ice age, so in a cave nowadays, with everything moving so fast. And very true, sometimes it feels like everything moving too fast, and I give that to you as well. I hear you. The world is changing, and the truth is there is nothing stationary in our life. Even your cells are either growing or dying. So our body, our biology system, they, from the moment that you were conceived, not just when you were born, if you look at the baby, how fast they're growing, change, they're progressing, and then at some point we stop, and then the cell actually start going backward. Now thankfully nowadays we find more and more way to slow down the going backward, so to say, or actually in some scenario to keep moving forward in a control manner. Because otherwise, if you just randomly changing that, and that's the other thing, that we do want to let go of things, we want to change, but in a control manner. Because if you just randomly start throwing it, imagine it start throwing every other things out of your house, and that would not necessarily the best idea. Or you just said, I'm just going to stop randomly doing this and that and that, that's stop, I'm going to stop brushing my teeth or something. That would not be the best idea. Uncontrolled change and uncontrolled growth in the term of biology is called cancer. That's really cancer what's about. And some of you know I'm a cancer specialist. So we want to be controlled. We want to be able to be to have change, and it's normal if you don't want to have change. But notice that it is something that, in truth, even in your body, like Amanda says, Robin says, it's lovely to sometimes to say, you know what, I'm comfortable. I got my house, I got my car, I got my job. Why would I want to change? Well, it doesn't have to be a drastic change, but perhaps there is something that you would love even more. And what would that be?
I think sometimes we don't even know the things that are subconsciously keeping us stuck. And when you start consciously thinking about it, then you'll bring up things that are subconsciously keeping you stuck. And one of the things that you can do is replace some of those subconscious patterns that you do. And essentially, in order to change something and to learn to let go of it, you may have to become aware of it first. You might not even be aware that there is this pattern that's keeping you stuck. It could be the pattern of like coming home and binging Netflix, or it could be a pattern of like getting into an argument with a family member on a regular basis. And in order for you to change that pattern and to let go of it, you have to become consciously aware of it. And so I think it's really important to like take a minute and to think about like, what is it that's no longer serving, that's not serving me, that I do on a regular basis, because that might be a subconscious pattern that you don't even know you have. And when you become aware of it, that's the only way that you can begin to change it.
Yeah, I think it's important, like what Amanda was saying. I love it when you say you actually taught your daughter to basically go through her thoughts, whatever didn't serve her, and ban it. It's like we are teaching our children to become who they want to become, because even our children, like Amanda, you went through divorce, and that divorce did not just affect you and your ex, it affected your daughter as well. So there are some things like children, they go through subconsciously without us knowing. So you were like showing her that it is okay to let go. And Robin, you basically mentioned that change is inevitable. Basically, it is necessary for us to understand that whether we like it or not, a change will need to be happening in our lives in order for us to move forward, and in order for us to be free, to have that freedom within ourselves. And Dr. Bigot, also, you mentioned that we are human beings, we don't like change, but change has to happen. And you mentioned that basically we have to basically do whatever it takes to basically, when you say stationary, a change is, you said we don't like the change, nothing is stationary in our lives. And that was you telling us that basically it is necessary for us to make changes in our lives. It's like when you have a broken heart, you have to make some changes in order to move forward. When we lose someone in our lives, like grieving, we have to make necessary changes, to make some changes, to let that person go. There's so many things like that we have to make some changes. And also we have to understand that it is normal to adopt beliefs and habits, and sometimes we may adopt the habits that basically negative ones, and then we have to change them. It might be good habits, and then we have to accept that we are growing. When you adopt good habits, that means that you are growing. So it is very, very important for us as human beings to realize that we are here on earth to save ourselves and to save others. And when change happens in our lives, that means that the people around us are going to be happy. Like Amanda, you in a different field, and Robin is in a different field, and Dr. Bigot is in a different field. When you guys speak, I'm learning so much. There are so many things I didn't understand about grieving. There's so many things I didn't understand, like with the school changes and stuff. When Amanda talks about schools, I'm like, I'm learning from that. I'm learning from how to basically help my kids to be where they need to be. I'm learning from Robin. Robin is a yoga teacher. She teaches children. I'm learning to basically not being a control freak. And when I'm taking my children to their teachers or dance teachers, I'm learning to basically to understand that they're in good hands, and the change is going to happen. Children that we give birth to, they're not ours basically to hold on to. So I'm learning those things. So eventually, when you learn things, you grow, and you're going to see that there are so many negative things that you have to let it go. And for me, basically, there are so many things that I had to let it go. And some things have been very, very painful. But there are some people that they want to let it go. If you are watching this talk show now or later, and if you are trying to let go of whatever does not serve you, you don't have to. There are some people that fights people. Basically, they're like, you know what? I'm not gonna hang out with that one because that one ain't good enough for me. So we're not saying you have to go around with ego and judging people. All we are saying is search within your inner being, and everything starts with you. Whatever you do in life, everything starts with you. If you see that you are not with the right friends that are serving you and that are basically helping you to go to the right direction, you have to search within you. Let them go gracefully without holding on to them, or without like, who's mentioned the argument that you might have an argument with that was Amanda, that sometimes you might have an argument with a family member very often. So you have to let go of those things and stuff. I think it's very, very important. Over to you, Amanda.
Yeah, that family member piece is really, I think, important, because you can't control what anybody else does or what they think or what they do. And what you only have control over is how you act and behave. And so essentially I've had to set boundaries with people in my family because I come from a family of alcoholics. And so essentially one of the things that I've done is I've set a boundary with them with my psychologist to say, look, if you want to speak to me, let's speak in a psychologist's office. Otherwise, I have to let go of this relationship for this point in time. And as hard as that is, I can't control what they choose to do, but I've learned to let go of those unhealthy things that were consciously or continuously happening in my life by having those relationships with those family members. And it has been so freeing to actually be able to do that, to actually be able to set a healthy boundary and to be able to follow through on it. And I followed through on it for over 2 years now. And it's unfortunate that they won't talk with me in a psychologist's office, but there's nothing else I can do. And so essentially that has been like a huge, like, I just give it up to the world. And then my daughter and I just live our lives and we do wonderful things with my aunt and my uncle and other wonderful people in my family, and then friends become family too. And so I think sometimes we have to let go of what other people do and remove ourselves from it. And it's a really hard step, but it's actually an essential step in our healing as humans, and our healing in our lives. And sometimes we try to make things work forever because they're family. And I always like question for you, like, would you be friends with these people? Like, if you had a choice, would this be a friendship that you would continue? And if you don't, then you really need to question that relationship and maybe just take a step back, because essentially you get to pick your friends and you get to pick the people that you surround yourself with on a regular basis. It is your choice who you surround yourself with. It's not, you don't have to do anything else. And I think that's something that's really, really important, that sometimes people are like, no, I have to. And it's like, no, you really don't. You get to choose. And so often we don't feel like we have the choice because of our upbringing and because of things that people have told us. But going to counseling and going and getting support for years has actually helped me realize that no, I always have a choice, and I always have the option to take a step back. And I think that's something that maybe some people aren't aware of, because they feel stuck in those relationships. And sometimes we just need to let go of the fact that we can't control them, and let go of certain relationships that are really toxic to our well-being.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think obviously relationships are a super big one that we struggle to let go of, especially when they're family members. But I feel like there's so many more things as well that we hold on to, like the job because of finances, or the perfect house, or the way that we think we're supposed to act, and all of those things. And I feel like the important part is, again, examining your life and figuring out which things are actually creating that issue for you. So some people just know. Some people have this like gut feeling or whatever that this is not right. That's like, one of the classic ways, right? We do meditation or we do mindfulness exercises, and we kind of just know in the pit of our stomach, we feel this is not right. But I also feel like examining it as far as like, what are the things in your life that you dread? Who are the people that you dread hanging out with? Who are the people or the things in your life, the job, the events, the hobbies that you just dread doing, that you just don't want to do? And I feel like the minute that you start looking at those things, then you start to realize what's no longer bringing you joy, what's no longer bringing meaning to your life, what's no longer creating this I think Amanda mentioned this a few weeks back, creating an increase in your life, right? We don't want to just have people in our lives or have things in our lives that are just kind of like hanging out there. We want to be constantly growing and expanding and moving forward. And if it's no longer really bringing you joy, and it has no meaning, and it's not, increasing and making you better as a person, then it's not worth holding on to, right? I even find, maybe you don't dread it, but maybe every time you're there, you're super distracted. I feel like that's another good way of realizing, hey, I don't actually want to be here. Every time I'm here, I'm like out of my body and not really in it and not present. It wasn't until during the pandemic that I realized how many things I get distracted with. How many times I'm just like completely dissociated outside of my body, not interested in what's going on. It wasn't until I started, and this is really a random thing, until I started like working with wood. I started doing like random carpentry stuff. And I was like, whoa, I was like, is this what it means to feel present? Like, is this what presence feels like? Because I was so into it. My everything was like, whoa, okay, I feel really, really good here, right? And then I started to be like, okay, what are the things that I don't feel this way with? And how can I start to rearrange my life to fill it with more things that are going to make me feel the way that like carpentry did, right? And I think that that's a really important step. And then the last thing I'll just mention is if you feel bad about yourself every time you're there or every time you're with that person, then it's probably a sign that you need to move on. And it is hard. And thankfully, all of these lovely ladies here today have so many wonderful suggestions on how you can release those things. Just know that it isn't a quick process usually. It's going to be slow. It's going to be painful. It's probably going to have to be a constant conversation that you keep coming back to, right? Amanda said she, 2 years ago that she made this decision, and it's probably a conscious effort that she makes every day because it is difficult. And there probably is some little connection still with some of the people that she hangs out with, that it probably still comes up, right? And even though she's made that decision and she no longer talks to that person, there's probably, some sort of a connection, and she's having to still make that conscious choice. I don't know Amanda for sure, but I like my assumption, sorry, my cat's like right here, is that, it is a conscious choice that you're making, and it is those boundaries that you set for yourself that you're having to revisit, right? And you're having to you constantly say, I've made this decision for a reason, and I'm sticking to my guns for it. And I am not going to put myself in a position where I feel bad, where I feel like crappy to be around you. It's just not going to happen, right?
I really like what you said about that dread, because that's something I used to dread Christmas, it, and I don't anymore. And it's like freeing, right? It's so freeing to be like, okay, I dreaded this for years, and now that I've made a different decision, I don't dread it anymore. Like my daughter and I just spend Christmas doing what we want and like have a lovely time, and we ski and we do whatever, and I don't dread the stress of what I used to have to put up with, and it's been so freeing.
Holidays are always like that. I feel like for people that have relationships that are toxic, I feel like holidays are a big cause of stress because everyone's together for sure. Dr. Brigitte, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I love what you said, and I love what you said earlier as well, Numsa, about heartbreak. And it's very true that sometimes we for some of us who are not ready to let go. A lot of times, I want to put it this way. A lot of time we say you have to let go of this and you have to let go of that. And if you're really not ready to let go, being a grief specialist, I would have people who come to me and they have quite a horrific trauma, and you can see and they know they are living in pain. They are miserable. They are living in pain. They cry every other day or every day, and so forth. And then we present, and they come in saying, "I want to move forward from this." And I use some very very effective systems that is evidence based, studied by the university, and do have medical system study and so forth. So we say, "Oh, okay, great. We have very effective system that in a matter of 6 weeks, it doesn't matter what you need to let go, in 6 to 12 weeks, depend on what you choose, but in 6 to 12 weeks, regardless of what you need to let go, this will help you release what it is and replace it, heal your heartbreak. It's possible to heal your heartbreak. It's possible to be able to be living in harmony, releasing what you no longer need, whether it's a family member or it's a habit or it's a job or something, and being able to live a wonderful way. And some people look at it and say, yeah, I'm not ready. And it's never about the cost, even if it's if it's free. At some point, people come to realizations. No, I'm not ready for this. I want to be in pain still. I don't really want to be in pain, but we're just not ready. And sometimes the same thing with family member. And you say, I want to let go, and I want to. I'm tired of this continuing to happen, and that continuing to happen, and so forth, and then we still spinning around. And if that's happened, you want to see why. And sometimes it's a form of guilt. It's if it's family member and things, and if that's the case, let me tell you, if it's a form of guilt, big hugs to you and a lot of kudos, because that's called being very caring to your family member. But sometimes what's most caring for them as well, beside for you, is to actually, many times people need to see that yes, they actually truly need to change. And then the other part of that is, if it is something that, let's say it's a family member and you feel uncomfortable, I feel guilty letting go, and so I'm just gonna tough it up and go to this gathering and act it like I'm happy or something, and therefore you dread them. And then just know that the Hartman Institute has done many studies that what's going on in your heart, whether you had a broken heart or you had something that's by now you are just, oh God, that's another one that I got to live with these people and act happy. What's going on in your heart is actually measurable vibrational wise by instrument, 3 to 6 feet out minimum, and actually beyond that, but the instrument's not strong enough to measurable. But by things outside of it, they just put a probe 3 feet out, 4 or 5 feet out. So if you just say, oh God, I got to beat these people, or oh my goodness, these jobs here, or something, just know that even if you push yourself in a way that's not serving yourself anymore, not feeling good, it's actually because what's going on in your heart is palpable outside of you. It will influence them anyway. So you're really not doing that much favor to them, trying to tough it up and trying to be good, and you don't need to feel guilty wanting to draw back, because hey, at least you feel better and they are not affected by you not feeling so good. And the same thing when it is, if you were to have a heartbreak. Now in some scenario, there are things that happen that you say, you know what, I got to simmer and sit in the pain longer before I'm able to, before I'm willing to release that. And everybody's, there is no right or wrong. I put a post on Facebook very recently, and somebody's fired back and said, "So is it, are you blaming these people?" I'm like, I don't blame anybody. It's, understand this. If you don't want to let go, it's not wrong. If you want to let go, it's not wrong. If you want to let go, it's not right. If you don't want to let go, it's not right. It is not right or wrong. It's just your life. What would you love to create out of it? And so, and then if you want to create something that you love, if you say, okay, well, I got enough of my pain, and and then you want to move forward, you ask for help. Now, if you choose to not do that, then just know whatever you choose will create the result that you have. If you say, well, yeah, but I don't want to let to move forward from my family or from my pain, then understand and you're gonna still be like this lady says, you're going to still be like, oh God, it's another Christmas, so I have to deal with people. It just, you can choose whatever you want to choose. Now, sometimes tuning in to what is it that you really, really would love. How is it that you would really love to feel? For some of my clients, well, I want to be able to wake up and not feeling angry. I want to wake up and not feeling sad. Well, then you need to accordingly take actions. You can't just say, yeah, well, I want to be sitting on rolling on broken glasses and not continue feeling pains. You got to get up and move away from the broken glasses and go to some cushiony place where you can feel better. But it's really not right or wrong. But ask, what is it that you really, really would love? What is it that you would really love? And that can actually guide you to where to go as well. You don't just let go, but you replace. So what is it that you really, really would love? Because we know that a ship, even if it is on a beautiful, calm sea, a ship without a destination will just spin around. And then even doing that, eventually they destroy the ship. So what is it that you would really, really love? What is it that you would really love to feel on a day-to-day basis? And then that can be your guide, that will be your goal, your destinations. And then it's very easy to see what is it that you want to really to release and replace, and some other things that you still want to continue on, and some other things that you might want to amplify. What is your thought, Nimsa?
Dr. Biggett, when you say dreading, and Robin and Amanda saying Christmas dinners and stuff, for me with my family, my family are in Africa. Mostly my mom doesn't celebrate Christmas. We celebrate the New Year. But here in the UK, my children, as grandparents, they love celebrating Christmas. They love to cook anyway. We just go there and sit there. They all get drunk and they all eat. Everyone minds their own business. We play games. Basically, no one basically picks on anybody on Christmas Day or birthdays. That's not allowed. Basically, I think people have set boundaries that Christmas is basically for us to spend time. I'm out for Christmas anyway. I don't celebrate Christmas either, but I go and support my children. But it's all about playing games and stuff and just sitting there eating and going to sleep. That's what we do. But I know there are some families basically that dread when it's Christmas time. They dread to hang out with their families because we don't choose our families. We don't get to choose our blood. Our blood basically is connected to us, I'm afraid, but it is tough for some families who have to go through and dread family dinners. But if you look at it, I think Christmas is meant to bring us together. We're meant to celebrate it, we're meant to enjoy, but it's not like that for some people, because some people have difficult families. But like Dr. Biggett, you were saying that it is possible for us to live in harmony. It is possible, and Amanda said as well that we do have a choice how we respond to life. We do have a choice how we live our lives. For me, basically, with my life, I look at Jesus's character. I always say this all the time, that he has his principles and his commandments, that if you want to enter my kingdom, this is who I am. You can either enter my kingdom and love unconditional and be this. He has his 10 commandments. So if you read his 10 commandments and say, you know what, I don't agree with this, he doesn't force you go and follow somebody else. So for me, basically, I have my principles and my boundaries. Like Amanda has created her own boundaries that for her, she likes her children to remember the love in the family. She likes her children to remember unity in the family. So those are my principles as well: unconditional love, unity in the family. If anyone doesn't agree with that, for me, basically, I don't get involved. And we have a choice, like Amanda was saying. We have control in our lives, so we can choose how we live our lives. And Robin, you were saying, if something is no longer bringing joy in your life, if it's not working, why are you holding on to it? That means it's going to bring pain. That means it's going to bring sickness. If you're holding on to something that it does not bring joy. If Christmas, it means celebrating with people that are going to cause pain. But the Christmas is meant to be eating food, buying loads of turkeys, loads of meat, loads of juice, or a non-alcoholic juice. Some people use it to get drunk anyway, but it's meant to celebrate catching up. What have you been up to for the year and all these things? But we use Christmas for some other things. So that's why for me, I was like, I don't want to celebrate Christmas because no one can explain to me what the Christmas is for. So I quit Christmas 2 years ago. I don't celebrate it anymore. So it is very, very important for, like Dr. Bigere was saying, you don't have to pretend and hang out with people through pretense. You can be the person that you want to be. Let go of the things that don't serve you. Let go of the things, if you know your character, why would you pretend, or coming to me and pretend to be something that you're not? For me, basically, I love my family very much, and I love my friends very, very much. I love my Ngozi Talk Shows coaches, everyone in Ngozi Talk Shows very, very much. They are my family. And I know that they are here, and you guys, you are here at Ngozi Talk Shows because it's a choice and because you love it. And I love that. So if I love what I love, why would I basically not look after it? So it's just basically you let go of something that doesn't serve you, because if you know that it is causing pain. And also the habits, there are some habits that don't serve us. You create goals, and if you see that these goals that I'm creating, they're not serving me, so why not tweak your goals and create something that is going to serve you, something that is going to take you to where you need to go. Or the business, there are some business that people, maybe you started the path and you see that it doesn't serve me, this habit, it don't serve me in the business. Let me just tweak it so it can take me to where I need to go. So it's very, very important not to hold on to something because being scared of what people will think of you, or people are going to judge you, or maybe you think if I say I don't want to hang out with these people, people will think that I'm better than them. No, you are not. You have the courage. The difference between those people who goes and pretend to have coffee with people they don't want to be with, is with you that have the courage to say, no, I don't want to be here. So I choose not to be here because it's my choice. So that means you have the courage. So for me, basically, the things that help me, I read the Bible. When I read the Bible, I just look at Jesus's character and I create my own character. This is who I want to be. And these are the people that I'm going to hang out with. If they don't agree, if somebody doesn't agree with my character or the choices that I make in life, it's beautiful. It's okay. Somebody else will agree with who I am, and I let go of them and I move on. So this is basically for some people that you date somebody and you realize in the long run that this person maybe is abusive, this person is doing this, or don't make any excuses for them. There are some women out there who are beautiful. There are some men who are handsome inside out. They date women who abuse them and they make excuses. She is because she didn't grow. Her dad wasn't there when they make lots of excuses. I don't know if anyone has ever had their friends making excuses, but they do. And many will be making excuses. I'm this because you've triggered me. How did I do that? So please, if you are in that kind of a relationship, let go, run. You're beautiful. You will find somebody else. You will not like it because you found the wrong person. It does not mean that it's the end of your life or it's the end of your relationship. So you got to know that you're beautiful. You can still find a beautiful woman, man. You can still find a beautiful man out there. Or if family members don't agree with you, don't fight with them. Have boundaries of my life is no go or fighting. Just walk away, create your own life. When they decide to wake up and share their love with you, let them come and join you. But while they're still sleeping and looking at their own world that is perfect, just live your own world. Love them from the distance. Over to you, Amanda.
I like what you said about unconditional love, because I still feel lots of love for everyone. I feel love for all humans. And I think that's something that's really important. But you still need to have boundaries for yourself, right? And just because you set a boundary with someone doesn't mean that you can't send them love. Because one thing that I always say to my daughter, if somebody's like rude or something, I'm like, people hurt people. And so if they're being mean, it's because they're hurting. And unfortunately, that's just the way it is sometimes. And I wish that people weren't that way, but we can't control how other people behave. But generally, if you're hurting, then you lash out and behave in not like empathetic and compassionate ways. And I even think when I'm struggling with something, or even if I'm like hangry, I won't necessarily deal with something in the best way, and then I'm like, well, I just need to eat. but if you're hurting in some way, then and that can be a trigger, right? And so often I think that we can send love to people even if they are doing inappropriate things, because you can just be like, somewhere along the line they're really hurt and scared and haven't healed their inner child. And when you can go back and heal the things from your life, that the traumas that are keeping you stuck, then you can learn to let go and learn, like Robin said, about being in her body, but and living in the present moment, because that's the only thing we are truly guaranteed is this present moment. And sometimes it's so hard to get out of our heads and just be present and live in this moment. But Robin was talking about how woodworking was helping her live in the present moment. And when you can live in the present moment, it helps you learn to let go of the other things that are keeping you stuck. And one thing that helps me live in the present moment is doing art and writing. And so it really is about finding that thing that allows you to live completely in the present moment. And I know yoga is another thing that helps me live completely in the present moment. So there's things that you can do, and it also becoming aware of those things that keep you completely present. And so like a soccer is another one, because I'm so focused on like running and getting the ball that they can't think of anything else, right? So it's completely present in that moment. And when we can do more of that, we learn to let go of all of those things that are keeping us stuck. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm just going to make a couple of notes to the opposite, because I know Dr. Burgett was saying that, whether you do it or you don't do it, basically you're right kind of thing in that moment. And I feel like just because, and this is something a friend said to me recently, because I found myself in a very stuck situation, and I was like, like, I know this is not right, but there's like, it feels like there's no way out. And she said to me, just because we, make a choice one way or another, doesn't mean that the best life isn't going to come. Doesn't mean that the gifts aren't going to come. It just means that they're delayed. Right. And so that was kind of a really nice, comfort to me, because obviously, like, when you make certain choices and stuff, and then you're like, oh, I maybe messed up, or now I'm in this kind of stuck place, or whatever this looks like, you can really feel also like all hope is lost unless you just like get rid of it immediately. And I wanted to mention that as well, because I feel like sometimes, you know, in our lives, we make a choice and then we feel like all hope is lost, you know, and there's no way we're going to get our gifts, especially in a conversation like this where we're like, it's super important, you need to let go of your shit. It's like, it can feel really like, like, oh my God, like this is a lot. And like, what if I don't let go of it right away? What if I, you know, just continue a little while for whatever reason? It doesn't mean that your life's going to suck forever. It doesn't mean that things are going to be horrible forever. And it doesn't mean that you're making like the worst choices for yourself. It just means that, you know, potentially those things that you've been waiting on might be delayed a little bit more because of, you know, the choice that you made or the decision you've decided to kind of stay in. It's totally fine. And when you do make that decision, when it does feel like the right time for you to let go of those things, making sure that you're realizing that it's okay to feel the feelings about it as well. Often, especially with relationships, but other things as well, we can often feel a lot of grief over, you know, what we wished would have happened or how we hoped that that relationship would end or be during. And so I think just really giving yourself that space to feel the grief, feel the sadness, feel whatever you need to feel, and then, you know, kind of moving from there and accepting that that is a part of life, right? Those moments where we're having to set those boundaries and we're feeling that really intense stuff. It's not wrong to feel sad about letting go of a relationship or letting go of a habit. It's totally okay. So when you are ready, it's okay to feel it. Know that if you're not ready right now, that's okay too. Just kind of envisioning the life that you want and just eye on the prize, focus that way. Dr. Burgett, you have anything?
Or Amanda? because that like, oh, what if I don't let it all go? I think there will be things in your life that come up on a regular basis, or not even a regular basis, throughout your life that'll pull you back, right? And then you have, after you've learned different tools to help you learn to let go of things, it'll just be that much quicker each and every time. Because I just had something really recently happen that was really, I could feel it pulling me back into those like anxious stresses over the divorce and everything, because it was stuff that my ex-husband was doing with regards to my daughter, and it was really pulling me back into that like stuck, hopeless, helpless feeling. And but what I did learn was that I was able to get over it so much faster and deal with it in such a better way than I had in the past. And that's a win, right? I'm like, it's 9 years. Like, why am I letting this get to me? But it's when it's my daughter, that's when it gets to me, right? And so, but I had to like commend myself to be like, okay, I dealt with things in a lot better way where it didn't put me in a puddle and I didn't lay in bed all day. And that's a win. Right? I was still able to go out and do all of these other things, even though all of these violations of the divorce agreement were happening again. And I was like, but you can't stay stuck, and also give yourself some grace, because there will be things that come up and will drag you back a little bit. And then all you can do is keep making the conscious choice to move forward each and every day.
Dr. Pickett, are you there?
Apologies, I forgot to unmute. Yes, definitely. It's something that a lot of time when you know to let go, well, you know to let go. And I would say for our audience is, if you are living, if there's something in your life that not the way you want it to be, then perhaps just be open to the possibility that there is something that you are able to release and replace with something that would allow you to be the way that you want to be. And at the end of the day, it's up to you to be or not to be, or to do or not to do. it is your choice. And at the same time, know that if you do want to let go of things and you find it challenging or don't know what to do, then there is always people who are happy to support you and meet you where you need.
Thank you so much. Any words of encouragement, Amanda, before we leave?
I think if you are starting to be conscious of things that you're trying to let go of, just be gentle with yourself. It's a process, and know that you're taking the first steps to healing, and that you have power to really take control of your life and to shift it. And the only person that has that power is you. And be gracious with yourself, and learn, like Robin was talking about, to do some things that help you live completely in the moment.
Yes. Yeah, I completely agree. I'm just echoing what Amanda said, and also just maybe reframing your definition of forgiveness as well. Forgiveness for yourself, forgiveness for the people in your life, forgiveness for letting go of stuff as well. And just, you know, if you're watching this, or you've looked it up online, or you've, you know, started to make that shift, just know that you're on the right path, even if it takes you a little while to get there.
Dr. Bigot, any words of encouragement?
Yeah, I would say it's the same thing. It's possible for you to create what it is that you would love, and that if you don't know what to do, where to release, what to release and replace, then there is people who are happy to help you. And if we talk about forgiveness, a lot of people has a different understanding about it. Really, forgiveness at the end of the day is simply letting go of your wish that things happen different. It has nothing to do with agreeing, approving, or anything in that aspect. It's literally letting go of your wish that things happen differently, whether it's something that's still going on or something that happened.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ladies. For me, basically, I was just saying, write a letter to your past people or yourself or whatever. And when you finish with it, let go, burn it, do whatever you want to do with it. But burning it, it means you're letting go completely, and forgive yourself and forgive those who have hurt you, and forgive yourself for holding on to them, and set yourself free. And that's the only way that I can say, and live your life how it's meant to be, without worrying about what people think, without holding on to pain. Because pain, basically, like what Dr. Bigot was saying, you can choose to let it go, or you can choose to hold on. It's all okay, but there is pain in it, there is freedom in it, there is joy in it. So you can choose basically whatever you want. Everything, it's a choice. So I choose freedom. Amanda, what do you choose?
I choose freedom for sure.
Robin, what do you choose?
Yes, definitely freedom.
Dr. Bigot, what do you choose?
You know me very well, Numsa. I choose peace
She
of
choose
mind.
joy and freedom. So
Peace of mind and joy and freedom.
yes. So we are here to Ngozi Talk Show is Monday to Friday, 1 p.m. UK time. Ngozi Talk Show's family on YouTube. Please subscribe to our channel and follow us on our social media, and get in touch with us if you want to. If you want to choose freedom, get in touch with one of our coaches by going through Ngozi Talk Show's page or my website. Connect you with whoever the coach you want to connect with. God bless. Live with grace.